Hello, it's Sonia here with the Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be working on some mittens, and I'm going to be using my H hook or 5mm hook, and you're going to need two different colors. So my main color, which is going to be color A, is this red. It's worsted weight number 4, and then my color B is going to be green. So Christmas themed red and green, but you can certainly use whatever colors you would like. And this is going to be a color work project. Not a lot of color work, but there's going to be some, pretty simple. So these mittens are going to be made bottom up. So we're going to start with the cuff area and then work up towards our fingers. So to get started, we are going to be working foundation single crochet. We're going to work 28 foundation single crochet, and I like to use foundation single crochet for a lot of projects that either go around the neck or around the, like we're going to insert our hand through, so we need a little bit of stretch and a little bit of give, and that stitch does provide a lot of stretch and give. All right, so to get started, you're going to chain 2 to work your first foundation single crochet. You're going to insert your hook in the second chain from your hook, pull up a loop. You're going to chain 1, yarn over, and pull through the remaining 2. And we've worked 1 foundation single crochet, so you're going to go right back in that stitch, your little chain you made. So you're going to insert our hook into that chain, pull up a loop, chain 1, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. So now we have 2, so you're going to go right back into that chain that you made, pull up your loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So we want to make 28, and this is going to be the left mitten. There is going to be there will be 2 separate mittens, so you're going to have the left one and the right one. So we're starting off with the left one, and they're very similar. There's just a couple little things that'll be different because of working the thumb, and that's the main difference, because your thumbs are not in the same place on your hands. So this is the left one that we're starting off with. So I'm going to continue working my 28 foundation single crochet. So I will meet you back when I have 28. All right, so I have my 28 foundation single crochet, and as you can see, we have a lot of nice stretch to that. So now we need to turn this into a circle because this will be made in the round. So what we're going to do is you're just going to join in your first stitch with a slip stitch here, and then your round 1 is all done. All right, so now we're going to work round 2, and we will be working extended single crochet, and this project is made mostly, I'm combining words. You ever do that? I'm thinking mostly and made, and I come up with mode, which mode is actually a word, but I do that a lot. So chain 1, we're going to work extended single crochet, and I like this stitch because we're going to be using color work, and it's great for color work for some projects, and it's also nice for working in the round because it's a flatter stitch when worked in the round, and I just find it to be more comfortable, especially for slippers, mittens. It's just, and plus it's also compacted together. And when you're doing color work with extended single crochet, also the stitches when worked in the round tend to stack up right on top of each other more than when you're working regular single crochet. They tend to slant. So I just started working a bunch of extended single crochet without telling you how to do it. So let's insert your hook, pull up a loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. So insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. So that's your extended single crochet. So just one extra step compared to regular single crochet. So we are just working foundation, or yeah, we already did foundation. Extended single crochet all the way around for round 2. So at the end of your round 2, you will have a total of 28 extended single crochet. So I'm going to keep going, working my round 2, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I finished up my round 2. You're going to join in your first stitch there with a slip stitch, and let's get ready for round 3. So you're going to chain 1, you're going to work an extended single crochet right in that same stitch, and then your next stitch is going to be a front post extended single crochet. So it's similar to like a front post double crochet or front post triple crochet, except we don't do a yarn over first. So you're going to insert your hook around that stitch, this next stitch, and then yarn over, pull up your loop, chain one, and then yarn over, pull through the remaining two. And then your very next stitch, because it can be a little confusing, so you're going to work right here for your next one and work your extended single crochet, and then your next stitch, this guy, you're going to work front post extended single crochet, and we're going to alternate that all the way around. So you're going to work extended single crochet in the next stitch, and then front post extended single crochet in the next. That's your repeat. So just alternating. All right, sorry the old battery died on me. So let me just recap what we're doing for this for round 3. So you're going to alternate between working regular extended single crochet and front post extended single crochet. Still having 28 stitches, but we're creating kind of like a faux ribbing. There's a fuzzy. This yarn picks up like so much fuzzy. This is some really old cheapy acrylic yarn. But I think, you know, we're gonna try to turn a pig's ear into a silk purse, which, you know, you can't do, but I think it'll be cute when it's done. Again, trying to use up some stash, and red is definitely the holiday theme. That's what these mittens are, definitely more holiday themed. So I'm gonna continue working my extended single crochet and front post extended single crochet all the way around for round 3. Alright, so I finished up round 3, so I'm going to slip stitch in my first stitch there. I'm joining it there, so now we are ready to go for round 4. So rounds 4 through 7 are going to be the same. So you're going to chain 1, you're going to work your extended single crochet right in that same stitch, and then your next stitch you're just going to work your front post extended single crochet around your last one, and then just continue alternating extended single crochet, front post extended single crochet all the way around. And you're going to continue this, as I said, this is round 4, and you're going to do this same round up to round 7. So just keep repeating this round, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 7. Sorry, I wanted to make clear, so I just finished up round 4. You do want to join at the end of all your rounds for this cuff here. So you're going to repeat round 4 for rounds 4 through 7, repeat round 4. So I will meet you back at the end of round 7. Okay, so I finished up round 7, I've joined, so now we are going to get ready for round 8. And we are also going to be introducing color B here. And we're not going to be using color B a lot, but we'll be carrying color B all the way around. And it kind of provides a really nice warm mitten. So it's kind of like a lining in a way. All right, so you're going to chain 1, and you're going to grab color B, and we are going to be working a stitch around color B with color A. So you're going to insert your hook in that first stitch, yarn over, pull up your loop, and then we're just going to be stitching around. So it's kind of like we're sandwiching it in there. Yeah, like I'm making this very difficult. It's really not that difficult. There we go. So we're going to work an extended single crochet right in that stitch, and then you can see that we've stitched around. And we're just going to continue to stitch around. We're just working regular extended single crochet in each stitch, and again we're going to have 28 stitches. So the color B will peek through just a little bit, but it's not really too distracting. So I'm just going to keep going, just stitching around for round 8. And you just want to make sure that it doesn't get bunchy on the other side. So sometimes, so you just want to make sure you don't have any like loops peeking out of color B. So I'm just going to continue working my regular extended single crochet all the way around and working around color B. So I will meet you back at the end of round 8. Alright, so I have one more stitch to go for round 8 here, and I'm just stitching around my color B. So what we're going to be doing is we will not be joining anymore. We're going to work in continuous rounds so we have like a nice seamless look, but you will want to mark your last stitch with a stitch marker because it's really easy to lose track of where your last stitch ends, where your first stitch begins for each round. So I'm just using a scrap piece of yarn to mark my last stitch. You can certainly, use a real stitch marker if you have one. I always lose them, so scraps of yarn work better. All right, so we're just going to repeat round 8. So rounds 9 and 10, you're going to do the same thing. We're going to continue to carry our color B, stitching around it. So this is my first stitch. For round 9, just stitching around color B, working my extended single crochet, and then just giving that a tug every couple stitches just to make sure that it's carried smoothly around. So you can see what I mean, where it can kind of loop if you're not careful. So you just want to just give her a little tug and that takes care of it. So super easy, so just keep repeating round 8 for rounds 9 and 10, and I will meet you back at the end of round 10. Alright, I finished up round 10. You can see I did not join, I'm just using my stitch marker to mark my last stitch. So now we're going to get ready for round 11. So we are going to work 3 stitches, just regular extended single crochet, and then we are actually going to start doing some thumb shaping. So it'll take a couple rounds to do the thumb shaping, but we will get there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So this stitch number 4, we are going to be starting our thumb shaping. So what we're going to do is you're going to work 2 extended single crochet right in that next stitch, and we're still working around color B. We will use color B soon, I promise. Alright, so we've worked 2 stitches there. And now you're just going to continue to work even all the way around for round 11. So at the end of round 11, you're going to have a total of 29 stitches because we increased once. So we started off with 28, so now we will have 29 stitches at the end of round 11. So I'm just going to continue working my round 11, just working the rest of my round, working even for the rest of the round. And working even means 1 stitch in each. So I will meet you back at the end of round 12. Or round 11, I'm sorry, round 11. Alright, so we finished up round 11. So again, we have 29 stitches, so let's get ready for round 12. So round 12, we're going to work even in the first 3 stitches. Still working around our color B. So now we are at our thumb section here. So we have 2 stitches here. This is our thumb section. We're going to work 2 extended single crochet in each of these to increase for the thumb. So there's 1, there's 2. We're just working 2 in that stitch, and then we'll work 2 in that stitch. So at the end of round 12, you're going to have a total of 31 stitches because we've increased by 2 for this round. And now you just need to continue working even all the way around for round 12. So I'm going to keep going, just working around and just, again, watching that color B. You just want to make sure she's not popping out on the other side. You just want it to be just smoothly around all the way around. Alright, so I'm going to keep going for round 12. Alright, so let's get ready for round 13. So round 13, again, we're going to work even in the first 3 stitches. And as you can see, I'm still using my stitch marker. You want to keep using that. So 1, 2, 3, and as before, we're still sandwiching color B. We're still stitching around it. All right, so now we're at our thumb section. So this first extended single crochet of our thumb section, we're going to work 2 extended single crochet to continue to increase for the thumb. And then you're going to work even in the next 2 stitches. And then here is our last stitch in our thumb section. We're going to work 2 extended single crochet in that one. So slowly increasing that area there. And now we're just going to continue to work even for the rest of round 13. So at the end of round 13, you will have a total of 33 stitches. So slowly getting bigger. So I'm going to keep going, just stitching around for round 13, and I will meet you back. Okay, so let's get ready for round 14. So round 14, we're going to work even for the first 3 stitches. Still we're stitching around color B, and round 14, we actually get to use color B for some color work, so super exciting. So this is stitch 3. So now we are at our thumb section. So our first stitch in our thumb section, we're going to work 2 extended single crochet in that stitch to continue to increase for that thumb. And then you're going to work even in the next 4 stitches. And that means 1 stitch in each. And now we are going to work 2 extended single crochet in that stitch to complete the thumb section here. So it's slowly growing. It will turn into a thumb, so if you've never done mittens this way, then you might be confused, but I promise it will be a thumb. I really like this way. I know some people don't like this way, so if you don't like it, that's okay. Just keep your negative thoughts to yourself. All right, so let's get ready to work the rest of the mittens. So now we are going to work even in the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and stitch 6. So we're going to finish off stitch 6 with color B. Oops, I'm just working a regular single crochet. Let's do it the right way. So how to do that, you're going to work your extended single crochet, so we're chaining 1. So now I'm going to, I have to yarn over and pull through my remaining 2 loops. So I'm going to do that with color B to finish off the stitch. So now I'm ready to go with color B. So our next 3 stitches are going to be color B. So 1, and you're going to stitch around color A, 2, and here is stitch 3. So now I'm going to finish stitch 3 off with color A, because the remainder of this round you are just going to work even with color A, stitching around color B for round 14. So I'm going to do that and I will meet you back. All right, so at the end of round 14, you will have a total of 35 stitches. So let's get ready to work round 15. So with color A, we are going to work even in the first 3 stitches. Picking up more fuzzies. I don't know where they're coming from. This yarn is like sitting for eons, so who knows? It was in storage for a really long time. All right, we're gonna finish that. Oh, no, we're not doing that yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so our next stitch, we're gonna work the thumb area. So we're gonna work 2 extended single crochet in that first stitch to increase for the thumb. And now we are going to work in the next 6 stitches, working even with color A. Alright, so I've worked 6 stitches. Now I need to work 2 more extended single crochet in that next stitch to complete the increase for our thumb section. And now we're going to get ready to work on some more color work here. So what we're going to do is we're going to work 4 stitches with color A. So we worked 4, we're going to finish off stitch 4 with color B. So color B, we're going to work 1 stitch, and then we're going to finish that off with color A, and then we're going to work 2 stitches in color A. And then we're going to finish that off with color B, and we're going to work 1 stitch with color B, and finish that off again with color A, and work 2 stitches with color A. And finish that off with color B, and work 1 stitch with color B, and then the rest of the round we work even with color A to complete our round. So I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back. Alright, so at the end of round 15 you're going to have 37 stitches. Alright, so let's get ready for round 16 with color A. So I am going to work 3 extended single crochet with color B, or color A, still, but working around color B. So now we are at our thumb section, so we're going to work 2 extended single crochet in the next stitch, still working on getting that thumb section ready to go. And now we're going to work 8 single crochet even, or extended single crochet. I'm not sure if I said extended single crochet or single crochet. Alright, so now we are ready to work 2 extended single crochet in the next stitch. And then we'll be getting ready to work on more of our color work section. So with color A, we are going to work 3 stitches. And then we are going to get ready to work with color B. So with color B, we are going to work 3 stitches. And we're going to finish off with color A. And we will work 1 stitch with color A, and then 1 stitch with color B. And then 1 stitch with color A again. And then we're going to work 3 stitches with color B. And then we are going to finish up round 16, just working even with color A, and at the end of your round 16, we will have a total of 39 stitches. So I'm going to keep going, finishing up round 16, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so now we're going to get ready for round 17. So at the end of round 16, you're going to have 39 stitches. So round 17, we are going to be turning the thumb section into an actual thumb hole. So our first 3 stitches with color A are going to be just working even and working around color B. Alright, so now we are at our thumb hole section. So what we're going to do is we're not going to work around color B. It's just easier not to. So you're going to insert your hook into the first stitch here of our color section, and we are going to skip these 10 stitches. And an easy way to know where to work is our last stitch in our thumb section, you're going to insert your hook. So right in that guy there. Right in, inserting in that last stitch, and we're going to work a slip, or not a slip stitch, an extended single crochet stitch with those 2 together, and we've created our thumb hole. So now we can continue in our pattern, and we're going to go back working around our color A, or our color B, I'm sorry. So after our thumb hole section, we're going to continue and we're going to keep stitching around color B. So our first stitch, we are going to work 2 stitches with color A. So there's 1 and then 2, and we'll finish that guy off with color B. And then our next 2 will be color B. And our next stitch is going to be color A. And then our next 5 stitches will be color B. And then our next stitch is going to be color A. And our last 2 stitches of our color work section will be color B. And then for the finishing up this round, we are just going to work even to finish up this round. So at the end of your round 17, you should be back to 28 stitches again. So we started out with 28, we increased to 39, and now we're back to 28. So I'm just going to finish up my round 17 and I'll meet you back. Alright, so we're going to get ready for round 18. So our first 7 stitches will be color A. Actually 8 stitches, I'm sorry. So first 8, so this is stitch 8. So now we change to color B. I'm looking at my chart and I can't count. Alright, so with color B, we're going to work 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to switch to color A. So 1 stitch with color A and back to color B. And we'll work 3 stitches with color B. And then we will finish out our round with color A for round 18. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to finish stitching with my color A and I will meet you back. Alright, so let's get ready for round 19 here. Alright, so for round 19 we are going to work, I believe it's 7 stitches with color A. So now we're going to switch to color B, and we will work 2 stitches with color B. And we're going to switch to color A and work 1 stitch with color A, and we will work 3 stitches with color B. And we're going to switch back to color A, and we'll work 1 stitch with color A, back to color B, and then 2 stitches with color B. And then for the rest of this round, for round 19, you're just going to work even with color A. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I will meet you back at the end of round 19. Okay, so now we are at round 20. So what we're going to do with color A is we are going to work 9 stitches with color A. 8 and stitch 9, and then we'll switch to color B. And then with color B, we will work 5 stitches with color B. So we're about halfway through with our tree. So stitch 4 and stitch 5, and then switching back to color A. And for the remainder of round 20, you are just working even. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I will meet you back at the end of round 20. Okay, so let's get ready for round 21. So we are going to be working 8 stitches with color A. So stitch 7 and stitch 8. So we'll finish that guy off with color B. And now with color B, we will work 3 stitches with color B. And you're going to work 1 stitch with color A. And 3 stitches with color B. I didn't like the way I finished that off. Yeah, this looks a little better. So 1, 2, and 3. And we'll finish that off with color A. And then we're just going to continue with round 21 with color A. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I will meet you back at the end of round 21. Alright, so let's get ready for round 22. So round 22, our first 10 stitches are going to be color A. Alright, so that's stitch 10. I'm going to finish that off with color B. And we're going to work 3 stitches with color B. So we're getting close to finishing up our tree here. And more than halfway with our mitten too. Okay, so for the rest of round 22, you are going to just work even with color A. Alright, so let's get ready for round 23. So for round 23, we're going to work 8 stitches with color A. And this is stitch 8. So we're going to change to color B. So stitch 9 is going to be color B. Actually, no, that's not right. Stitch 9 is going to be color A. For some reason, I'm having trouble looking at this chart. So sorry about that. So stitch 8 is color A. Stitch 9 is color A. Stitch 10 is going to be color B. Oops. 10, color B. And then our next stitch will be color A. And our next stitch will be color B. Then we'll switch back to color A, so we'll do 1 stitch with color A. And 1 stitch with color B. And then the rest of this round, or actually no, we're going to stitch all the way around with color A. We want to start decreasing a little bit to get it more into that mitten shape. So what you're going to do is you are going to work even until you get to your last 2 stitches, and then we will work a decrease stitch, and I will show you how to do that. So I'm going to stitch until I get to my last 2, so I will meet you back. Alright, so we are still on round 23, so here we are at my last 2 stitches. So here's 1, 2, and I have that mark. So I'm just going to pull out that stitch marker because we know that that's the very last one. So now we are going to work a decrease or a together stitch. I call them decreases because that's how I learned. And how we're going to do that is you're going to insert your hook in the front loop of the very next stitch, and also insert your hook in the front loop of the next stitch. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops, still working around color B. And then you're going to yarn over, chain 1, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2. And it just gives a little bit more of a streamlined together stitch. It doesn't show very much instead of, you know, a whole bunch of extra yarn overs. And so that is now my last stitch. I want to mark that. So after the end of round 23, you're going to have a total of 27 stitches instead of 28 because we decreased 1. Alright, so let's get ready for round 24. So for round 24, our first 10 stitches, which I hope that's right, is going to be color A. I was really trying to study that hard. Make sure I get it right this time. So this is stitch 9, and now we are at stitch 10, and yes, I got it right. Woohoo! Alright, so now we're going to change to color B, and we're going to work 3 stitches in color B. And now we switch back to color A. And for the remainder of round 24, we just work even. So we will not be decreasing. So I'm going to keep working even, and I will meet you back at the end of my round 24. Okay, so now we're ready for round 25. So we're almost done the tree part. So our first 11 stitches are going to be worked in color A. So here we are at stitch 10 and stitch 11. And now we need to change to color B. And color B, we're just working 1 stitch in color B, and then our tree is done. Mitten's not done yet though. And then the rest of this, actually we're going to decrease again. So you're going to work until you get to your last 2 stitches, and then we'll decrease again. So I'm going to do that. So I will meet you back, and then we'll decrease. I'll show you the decrease again. Alright, so we're at our last 2 stitches. So we are going to decrease again. I'm just going to pull that guy out because I know it's our last 2. And we're going to do the same thing as we did before. So front loop in the next stitch, front loop in the next stitch. Put your hook in there. And we're going to pull through 2 of those loops, and then we're going to chain 1 and then pull through the remaining 2, and then I'm going to mark my stitch. So at the end of round 25, you're going to have a total of 26 stitches. So now we are done our color work section, but we're still going to stitch around color B just to keep with the color scheme here. So round 26, you're just going to work even, and you'll have 26 stitches. So I'm going to work even for round 26, and then I will meet you back. Alright, so we finished up round 26, and we have 26 stitches, so let's get ready for round 27. So we are going to do more decreasing. So you are going to work with color A, and we're still stitching around color B, all the way around until we get to our last 4 stitches. So I'm going to keep going all the way around till I get to our last 4 stitches, and I will meet you back. Alright, so I am at my last 4 stitches here, so we're going to decrease 2 times, just like we've been doing. So front loop, and work this stitch, pull through the 2, chain 1, pull through the 2. So there's our first one, and here is our second one. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. And work the next stitch. And round 27 is complete. So round 28, we're just going to work even all the way around. So we are getting close to finishing up our mitten here, or the top of our mitten. We still have to do the thumb. So I'm going to go work even for round 28, and I will meet you back. And so now we're going to go get ready for round 29, and we are going to be doing some more decreasing, and we're going to decrease our first 2 stitches together. So this is, again, closing up the hole and just providing a little bit of shaping as well. So front loop in those first 2 stitches and working that decrease. Still working around color B. And we're going to stitch around until we get to our last 4 stitches, and we're going to decrease again 4 times, or not 4 times, 2 times. It's worked over 4 stitches, but we're decreasing 2 times in the last 4 stitches, and then we will have decreased a total of 3 times for round 29, and you will have a total of 21 stitches. So I'm going to keep going and I will meet you back. Okay, so now I'm at my last 4 stitches for round 29. So we're going to work the 2 decreases or together stitches. Again, I learned them as decrease and not together. I'm an old crocheter. I'm not part of the trendy new kids club here. So at the end of round 21, you're going to have a total of 21 stitches. Alright, so there we go. And I'm going to mark my last stitch. Still need to mark that last stitch. Alright, so round 30 and 31, you are actually going to repeat round 29. So we're going to work the decrease first, and then you'll work the decrease 2 times at the end, and then I'll meet you back at the end of round 31. So just repeat round 29 for rounds 30 and 31. Alright, so I have finished up my round 31 here. So at the end of round 31, I have a total of 15 stitches. So now we just need to work one more round, and we are just going to work for round 32 a round of single crochet, so just a plain round of single crochet there. Actually looking okay. Actually, we don't need to work around color A for this final round, so you don't have to. You can actually cut it. If I have my scissors handy, I will cut it, but yeah, I don't, so I'll cut it after I stitch this round. So we're just going to work a regular round of single crochet. So you're going to have a total of 15 stitches, and then at the end of your 15 stitches, you can join in your first stitch, but don't cut your yarn, because now we'll get ready to close up the hole. So I'm going to quickly just work my regular single crochet all the way around for round 32, and then I'll meet you back. So I'm at my last stitch here. I'm just joining in my first stitch to complete round 32. So now this part of the mitten is done, and now we need to just close up this hole. So I'm going to use my hole closing method. So if you prefer, you can certainly sew it, but I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to use my method. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to find another hook. It can be the same size, one size up, one size down, even probably 2 sizes down is fine. I have an eye hooker 5.5 millimeter, and this is what I like to do. So here I have my first loop of my hook rather snug. Now if you need 3 hooks, you can certainly use 3 as well, but I should be fine with 2. I'm going to insert my hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and we're going to leave that hook on, or that loop on the hook. And you want your hook or your loops rather snug on your hook. I mean, not super tight, but you know, you want them, you know, fairly snug on there, not loosey-goosey. So you're going to continue to pull up as many loops as you can, And as I said before, if you do not like this method, some people love it, some people hate it. It's, you know, whatever. Whatever is your preference, you can either sew it or do this. I prefer this method because I think it leaves a nice clean finish. I kind of borrowed it from knitting. Alright, so I can't fit any more on that hook, so I'm going to grab my other hook and put it in the next stitch and just continue around, pulling up loops. Almost to the end. I think I have one more stitch. So if you want to use 3 hooks, you certainly can. 2 works fine. So now we've got all of our loops on our 2 hooks. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your yarn and just work, it's going to be a giant slip stitch all the way around these loops. So here's my yarn, and I'm going to just pull through probably 1 or 2 at a time. You don't want to rip through them too fast because then you have to start over, and you know, who wants to do that? Alright, so I worked those guys off, so I'm going to pull up my loop here and just put it on my other hook. That hook, you can get rid of that one and then pull it taut because you want it taut on your hook, and then just continue to work off these loops. So I'm able to do 2 at a time if you want to do 1 at a time. And they're worked off. So then you cut your yarn. And finish it off. And just pull it tight, and then you have a nice neat finish. Then what I like to do is I usually stick my hook inside, poke it through that hole, and grab that tail and just pull it through with my hook. And then I like to go inside and just pull that tail taut so it really gets that hole nice and closed. And then you have a nice neat finish for your top there. So we have got the body part of the mitten done. Now we need to work on the thumb. Alright, so now we're going to get ready to work on the thumb. So I'm going to attach my yarn in the back, and we're going to work 12 stitches around for the thumb here. And I like to attach in the back so you can't really see where you attached. And we will be stitching around color B again, so you're going to need to have your color A and your color B. I feel like I can't talk today. It's the morning. I'm not a morning person. My voice is not like ready to go yet, so bear with me. So we're going to chain 1. I'm going to grab my color B, because we will be using color B, and we're going to stitch around color B like we did. So going right in that hook, or right in that stitch. I feel like it's always hard to get going stitching around the color. Once you get started, it's fine. Alright, and we're going to work an extended single crochet. There we go. We've successfully stitched around color B as well, and you're just going to continue to work your 12 single crochet, or extended single crochet around color B, and you will not join in your first stitch. We will be doing continuous rounds around the thumb as well to keep it looking as seamless as we can. So I'm going to keep going, working my 12 stitches, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so I'm at my stitch 12. I'm actually going to finish off my last stitch with color B. We will be working with color B, and you will still want to use a stitch marker to mark your last stitch. And I lost my other one. See, I told you I lose them, so I had to find another scrap of yarn. That little light tan one is, who knows where it is. Alright, so now for round 2 of the thumb, we're just going to work with color B, and we're going to just work even all the way around. Now if you want to eliminate, there's going to be a little bit of, it's not going to be a seamless join here because we're working continuous rounds. So if you do want to if you do want to join it, it will line up a little bit better. It's just, you know, completely up to you. Actually, I was joining it. I don't want to join it, so I was just demonstrating. So if you want to join with your color B, you can certainly do that, but I'm not. I don't mind the disjointedness a little bit. It doesn't bother me too. All right, so I'm going to work for my second round, and we're stitching around color A with color B. So again, 12 stitches. So I'm going to keep going, and I will meet you back at the end of my round 2 of my thumb. Alright, so I finished up round 2 and I switched back to color A. So round 3 is going to be a repeat of round 2 with color A. We're going to just work even around, and then we'll get ready to start some decreases for the thumb. Not too many, and we don't need to work too many rounds of the thumb either. So we are getting close to finishing this left mitten, and then we will work on the right one. Okay, so round 4, again, you're going to work even. So I'm still with color A for round 4, and then when you get to the end of round 4, you'll want to switch to color B. So just working even 12 stitches, so 1 stitch in each. So I'm going to do that, and I will meet you back at the end of round 4. Okay, so I'm with color B, and we're actually done with color A, so you can cut color A. I actually have my scissors with me now. So cutting color A, and we do not have to stitch around color A. So just tuck that in there. Alright, so round 4, or round 5 and 6 will be repeat rounds. So what you're going to do is decrease in the first 2 stitches for round 5, and you'll do the same for round 6 too. So at the end of round 5, you're going to have a total of 11 stitches, and then at the end of round 6, you're going to have a total of 12 stitches, or 10 stitches. Yeah, we can do math. Like I said, it's the morning. I'm not a morning person. I usually film in the evening, but we're filming in the morning today. Alright, so I'm going to work my 2 rounds here, and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I have finished up my round 6 here. So round 7, we are going to work a single crochet round. So no more extended single crochet, just like what we did at the top of our mitten. So I'm just working my 10 regular single crochet, and then I will join in my first stitch, and then we'll get ready to work these guys off and close up our hole like we did for the top of the mitten. So I'm just going to keep working my 10 regular single crochet, and I'll meet you back. Alright, so now we're going to close our hole, and this time I have a G hook or 4.25 millimeter to use instead of the eye, just to show you that you can use a smaller size hook too. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing as we did with the top of the mitten. So I've got my first loop rather snug on my hook, and I'm just going to insert my hook in the next stitch and pull up loops. So I'll pull up as many as I can, and then I'll grab that G hook. And if you do want to grab a third hook, you know, certainly feel free. Okay, that was a bit of a struggle. You're probably like, oh gosh, I'm not going to do this technique, this is horrible. Alright, so we've got our loops on our hook. Now we're going to work them off. It's not that bad. Well, the way I made it looks terrible. But we're just going to work our giant slip stitch all the way around. Alright, went off camera to get that on the hook. Really crazy. Alright, so we're going to continue to pull through loops. And there we go. And now I'm going to cut my yarn And yay, we finished that. I don't even know if I was in frame. I am so sorry if I was not. So there we have our nice and neat finish for our thumb, and I will put my hook through and pull that through. I'm going to do that off camera. I'm not going to try to wrestle on camera and bang on the camera. Alright, so I am wearing the mitten here so you can see. I think it's pretty cute. So what you're going to want to do for the right mitten, because they will be different, but the first 10 rows will be the same. So you're going to want to work the first 10 rows that we worked on this guy for the right mitten, and then we will get ready to start this thumb shaping for the right mitten. So left mitten is all done. You can, weave in your ends if you want to, and block it if you need to, or if you want to wait till the right one's done. So I'm going to work my 10 rounds. Did I say rounds or rows? Like I said, the morning. I should never film in the morning. So I am going to work my 10 rounds for the right mitten, and then I'll meet you back to start the thumb shaping. All right, so now we are working on the right mitten. And as I said before, work rounds 1 through 10 are the same as the left one. So now we're going to get ready for round 11 to begin some thumb shaping. So what we're going to do for round 11 is you are going to work your extended single crochet all the way around until you get to your last 4 stitches. So you can see I have my stitch marker there. So I am just going to work, and I'm working around my color B, just like we did with the left mitten. So some of the directions for the right mitten are the same as the left, and then some are slightly different because, your thumb is not on the same side as your right hand as it is on your left hand. So you have to compensate for that. So I'm going to keep going here until I have 4 stitches left, and then we'll start the thumb shaping. Okay, so I have 4 stitches left, and as you can see, I'm still marking my last stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the next stitch, you are going to work your 2 extended single crochet to begin the thumb shaping. And then you'll just finish out your round. So working in the last 3 for round 11 here. And then I'm going to mark my last stitch as we've been doing. Still want to do that. Okay, so for rounds 12 and 13, what you're going to want to do is you're going to work even all the way around until you get, so for round 12, until you get to this thumb section right here. So you can see the 2 extended single crochet. So in this first one, you're going to pop in 2 extended single crochet, just like we did with the left mitten. And then the second one, you're going to pop in 2 extended single crochet. And then for round 13, you're going to have 4 stitches here in your thumb section. So on the 1 stitch, the first one you come to, you're going to pop in 2 extended single crochet. Then you'll work even, so 1 stitch in each in the next 2. And then the last stitch of your thumb section, you'll pop in 2 more stitches. So we're slowly growing that thumb section. And then round 14, we'll get ready to do some color work like we did with the left one. So I'm going to work rounds 12 and 13, and then I'll meet you back and we'll get started on round 14. Okay, so we finished up round 13. So as you can see, our thumb section starting to grow that. So for round 14, what you're going to want to do is you're going to work even in the first 16 stitches. Okay, so I'm at stitch 15 here. And then I'm going to work stitch 16, and then we're going to finish off stitch 16 with color B to start the tree design. Alright, so there we go. So then the next 3 stitches we are going to work in color B. and then we'll change. And then we're going to continue to work even until we get to our thumb section. So I have one more stitch and then I'm at my thumb section here. So my next stitch here is my thumb section. See, there's those 2 extended single crochet. So in the one, we're going to pop in 2 stitches. And pop in 2 stitches. And then we work our last 3. And then round 14 is complete. And we're still stitching around color B, keeping with our pattern here. Alright, and then I'm going to pop in my stitch marker again. Because as you can see, you know, as you get farther up, it gets kind of trickier to figure out which one is your last stitch. So you definitely want to keep using that stitch marker. So let's get ready for round 15. So for round 15, we're going to work even in the next 14 stitches. So now I'm at stitch 13 here, and stitch 14, and I'm going to finish off with color B for stitch 14, and then stitch 15 is color B. Oops, we need to finish that off, sorry about that. So stitch 15 is color B, but we need to finish that off with color A to work stitch 16. Color A, oops, and I need to finish that guy off. Or no, I don't. Sorry about that. Gotta look at my chart. So 15, this is stitch, I'm sorry. So we worked to stitch 14. This is stitch 15, this is stitch 16. 17 is color A as well, and we'll finish that guy off with color B. 18 is color B, and then our next 2 stitches color A, and we need to finish that one off and work one more with color B. And then we're going to continue around for round 15. So what you want to do is you want to keep stitching, working even, and then we're at our thumb section, and you're going to pop in 2 stitches here. You're going to work in the next 6, and then you're going to pop in 2 more stitches, and then you're going to work your last 3 for round 15. So I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back. Alright, so now we are ready for round 16 here. So we are going to work even in the next 13 stitches, and then we'll get ready for our color section, or our tree section. Okay, so I'm at stitch 12. And then 13, and we're going to change to color B. So there we go. So stitches 14, 15, and 16 we're going to work in color B. So 14, 15, 16, And then stitch 17 is going to be color A. Stitch 18 is going to be color B. And stitch 19, color A. And stitches 20, 21, and 22 are color B. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to continue until you get to your thumb section here, and you're going to work your 2 stitches in your thumb section, then you'll work in the next 8, and then you'll work your final 2 stitches, and then you're in your thumb section, and then your last 3 stitches you'll work even for round 16 here. So I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back. All right, so let's get going for round 17. We are going to work even in the next 12 stitches with color A here. So here's stitch 11. And stitch 12. And now we're going to change to color B. So finishing off stitch 12 with color B. And then stitches 13 and 14 are going to be color B. Stitch 15 is color A. And we're going to finish off stitch 15 with color B. So stitches 16 through 20 are going to be color B. 16, 17, 18, 19, sorry, I gotta fix that tangle, and then stitch 20. And then we'll finish off that stitch with color B, or color A, I'm sorry. Stitch 21 is color A, and stitches 22 and 23 are color B. And we'll finish that guy off, color A. And we're going to get to our thumb section very shortly. So I'm just going to work one more stitch, and now I'm at my thumb section. So what we need to do is we need to actually turn this into a thumb hole now. It's going to be time to do that. So as we did with the left mitten, we're going to drop color B for the time being. We're just not going to use that one right now. We're going to insert our hook into the next stitch at the thumb section. We're going to skip, it'll be 10 stitches, but we're going to jump, see where there's that 2, that last one there. We're going to insert our hook, and we're just going to work our extended single crochet, those 2 together. And then we're going to finish up this round and then continue stitching around color B for the last 3 stitches. And then our thumb hole is made. And round 17 is complete. And I'm going to mark that stitch. And there we go. So we've got our thumb hole and we've got our tree going. So we are on the right track. Okay, so let's get ready to work round 18. So we are going to work even in the next 14 stitches. So that's stitch 12, we're at stitch 13 here, stitch 14, And then we're going to finish off stitch 14 with color B. So stitch 15 is color B. 16 and 17 are also color B. So color A here. So 15, 16, 17, and then stitch 18 is color A, and then stitch 19, 20, and 21 are color B. And then the rest of our round is worked in color A. So I'm going to keep working even, and I will meet you back at the end of this round. Okay, so let's work round 19. So we are going to work in the next, I believe it's 13 stitches here with color A. So still working extended single crochet. So here we are at stitch 12 and stitch 13, and we'll finish that off with color B. So stitch 14 and 15 are color A, or color B, I'm sorry, 14, 15, I'm holding it in my hand and I'm like, don't know what I'm doing. And stitch 16 is color A. And 17, 18, and 19 are color B. So changing back. So stitch 20, color A. 21 and 22 will be color B, and then you can complete the rest of your round with color A. And then round 19 will be done. Okay, so let's get ready for round 20. Round 20, we're going to work even with color A in the first 15 stitches. So here's stitch 14. Swatching my tension with my color B, and then this is stitch 15, and we're going to finish off stitch 15 with color B. And then stitches 16 through 20 will be color B. And then you're just going to finish out this round with color A, working even for round 20. So I'm going to continue that and I'll meet you back. Alright, so for round 21, we're going to work even in the next 14 stitches with color A. This is stitch 13, stitch 14, and we'll change to color B. So stitches 15, 16, and 17 are going to be color B. And stitch 18 is color A. And stitches 19, 20, and 21 are color B. And then you'll just finish out the row, or round, not row, with color A for round 21. So I'm going to keep working even for the rest of my round 21 and I'll meet you back. Okay, so let's get ready for round 22. So we are going to work with color A in the next 16 stitches, and then we'll get ready to work our tree section again. We're getting close to being done with the tree and more than halfway done with this right mitten, which is exciting. So this is stitch 15, 16, and I'm going to finish off with color B, and then 17, 18, and 19 will be color B. And then I'm just going to finish out my round 22 here with color A. So I will meet you back at the end of round 22. All right, so let's get ready for round 23. So round 23, we're going to start off with a decrease stitch because we need to start getting this into the mitten shape. So stitches 1 and 2 will be combined into the decrease stitch, and we're going to work up to stitch 15, and then we'll change to color B. All right, so we're going to pull up in front loop. So stitch 1, stitch 2, front loop. Come on, yarn. There we go. I'll be glad to be done with this yarn. Well, let's work our decrease stitch. This is not great yarn. So that's stitches 1 and 2, and then we're going to carry on stitch 3, 4, until we get to stitch 15. So that's stitch 14, this is stitch 15. And we're going to finish that guy off with color B. And then stitch 16 is color B. Stitch 17 will be color A. Stitch 18 is going to be color B. Stitch 19 is going to be color, so we have 16 color B, 17 color A, 18 color B, 19 color A, and then stitch 20 is going to be color B. And then change back to color A. So let's recap. So 16 color B, 17 color A, 18 color B, 19 color A, stitch 20 color B, and then you're just going to continue stitching around. So at the end of your round 23, you're going to have a total of 27 stitches. So I'm going to keep going, working even. All right, so let's begin round 24. So our first 15 stitches will be color A. We'll try to get this done before my battery kaputs, because she's getting close to dying and I don't feel like getting up to change it, but I'm going to need to do that. So here's stitch 14 here. And then stitch 15, and we get to change to color B, and stitches 16, 17, and 18 will be color B. So we're almost done our tree here. And almost done this part of the mitten. And then we switch back to color A. And then you're just going to continue to work even for color A for the rest of round 24 here. So I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back. All right, so let's get ready for round 25. We are going to work 16 stitches with color A, but we are going to decrease in the first two again. So front loop for the next stitch, for stitch 2, and then work our decrease stitch, and then stitch 3, and keep going until you get to stitch 16. So this is stitch 15. Stitch 16, we will change to color B. And then stitch 17, we will work with color B and change back to color A, and we are done with our tree part. And then we're just going to continue with color A for the rest of round 25. So at the end of round 25, you're going to have a total of 26 stitches because we just decreased the one time. So I'm going to keep going and I'll meet you back. Okay, so now we're ready for round 26. Round 26, you just work even, one stitch in each. We're still going to stitch around color B, and so I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back at the end of round 26. Okay, so now we are ready for round 27. Round 27, we're going to decrease 2 times. So we are going to work in the first 2 stitches. So front loop, pull through those 2, chain 1, and then complete that stitch, and then we'll do it one more time. So front loop, and just completing that decrease stitch, and then you're just going to continue around working 1 stitch in each for round 27. So at the end of round 27, you're going to have 24 stitches. Okay, so we're ready for round 28. Round 28 is an even round. You're just going to work 1 stitch in each, and again you should have 24 stitches. So I'm going to do that and I'll meet you back. Okay, so now we are at round 29. Round 29, we're going to decrease again. So we're going to decrease 2 times, so working over the 4 stitches. So here's the first one. So working in our front loops and just working that decrease stitch, and then working the next one over those 2 stitches. And we are going to continue to work even until we get to our last 2 stitches, and we are going to decrease again. So at the end of this round, we will have a total of 21 stitches. So I'm going to stitch around, and then when I get to my last 2 stitches, which will be right here, there's my stitch marker in there, I'm going to work 1 more decrease for the round 29. So I'm going to do that off camera and I'll meet you back. Alright, so we finished up round 29. So at the end of round 29, we have 21 stitches. So for rounds 30 and 31, you're going to repeat round 29. So you'll decrease 2 times, and then you'll decrease once at the end. So a total of 3 decreases for each round. So I will meet you back at the end of round 31. Alright, so I have worked up to round 31 here, so we have 1 more round to go. So just like the left mitten, you're going to work a round of single crochet, and you can cut color B, you don't need to work around that. And then I'm going to use my hole closing method with the 2 hooks, and then what you're going to need to do is you're going to work the thumb, and the thumb directions are the same for the left mitten as they are for the right. So you'll work your thumb directions, and then your right mitten will be done, and you're just going to want to weave in your ends and, you know, block it if you need to. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.